You're listening to Kevin and the Spleen.
No one's gonna ever love me.
1098.5 Radio QWX for quick.
Bussin', no cap.
No cap.
Really smack you in the ass with flavor. There you go. This show is about depression, anxiety, PTSD, and chronic illness.
We going quick. We're trying to keep you on the path to the ride home on the evening time.
It's a fucking zoo.
Make it Quicks with the Quicks Radio.
White lives do not matter.
Hey everybody, what it is, you know it's the Spleen, and he's coming to you live from the abdomen. That's right, baby, we got the new studio and we call it the abdomen because that's where the spleen loves to sit, isn't that right, Kevin?
Oh, it is. That is. Wow. Yeah. Now we call it the abdomen. Sometimes we take a punch in the abdomen. We call it, when we're having a meeting and stuff like that. So yeah, I like it.
That is wow indeed, Kevin. We take a punch to the abdomen. That's what we call it when we do shots. And now it is time. Hit that shot buzzer. Stop the shot clock because it is time to take a punch to the abdomen. What you sipping on tonight, Kevin?
I got some Code Red and some Major Melon. So I am ready for an episode of That Happens Tonight.
All right, Kevin, I don't think understands what a shot is because we talking hard liquor to kind of punch you in the face. That's right. I'm already going on half a bottle of absinthe, so I'm seeing things. If you were in the studio right now, you would see them too, baby, because I am convinced this is not a hallucination from the Green Fairy.
Have you ever had absinthe before?
Yeah, baby. Oh, yeah. Me and my friends, we used to drink absinthe at parties occasionally, and my friend had the whole kit with the little thing where you put the sugar cube on it and you pour it over the sugar cube, and it's like, why are we even doing this? Because it still tastes horrible. And oh boy, absinthe is overrated. I don't know if we had the real stuff, baby, but it was basically just like relatively strong liquor, but nothing special. Tasted kind of minty and botanical, if you know what I mean. Talking about that wormwood infusion. And if you want the wormwood infusion, drop me a line on my Instagram page, baby. That's right. That's what I call the whiskey dick. That's right. We in the abdomen tonight. Should we keep doing this? We could potentially just do this the whole show. If my voice doesn't give out, baby.
I'm curious how long you can keep this up. So yeah, sure. Let's try it.
All right.
I've tried absinthe before. It just tasted like really bad black licorice.
Yeah.
That gave me a headache. And
exactly.
That's really about it.
That's really about it. That's right. I recall some headaches myself, baby. And I'm not talking about a hangover because, it was actually a lot like a hangover because it was induced by liquor. Oh, yeah. But it was like a pre-hangover. I call it a hang under. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, we in the studio tonight, baby, and it's time to get punched in the abdomen. Now that's right, Kevin. Now it's time for you to take some shots.
Well, I mean, this is about as hard as I get. So some good old Major Melon, maybe with an Aleve at the same time. That's a party for me.
All right, we'll take it. Oh shit, he's doing it and the camera's on me, baby, but that's how it rolls in the overwhelming. That's what we call the abdomen, baby. The
overwhelming. Yeah, mine has gotten a little overwhelming lately.
Oh yeah, you've been overwhelmed by sugar and caffeine, and it's 7:30-ish in the evening time when you taking this due to the dome, baby. That's right. You're going to go all the way up to the head. That's what we call the upstairs office that contains the printer. Oh, yeah.
Do you find that caffeine still affects you with the amount of Mountain Dew you've consumed in your life?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it always affects me. But I gotta say, I've not been drinking soda lately. And when you don't drink soda lately, and then you drink caffeine at all, oh boy, you're up till 2, bouncing off the walls, making your downstairs neighbor know what the upstairs neighbor is doing. You know what I'm talking about? Talking about those footsteps on the floor, stomping around like you want some more. Oh yeah. How do you feel about daylight savings time? You know the daylight just switched to savings or ended the savings or whatever.
We got savings for you tonight. Either way, I hate daylight savings time. I wish we would get rid of it. I really do. It just messes so many things up for not a lot of benefit. What's your hot take on that?
Boop, boop. That's the hot take alert. You know Kevin just dropped a hot, steamy take. That we call that the Chicago steamer, baby. And you know it's sweating outside. That's right. No, I would say I have to agree with you. I would get rid of it. I think that to an extent, I don't really care that much. Or I should say that I didn't. It seemed like something that people just love to complain about, if you know what I'm talking about. But I gotta say, I've been in a routine of going on morning and evening hikes, and you know the evening hikes can be dangerous if you don't got no light, baby. And so just this morning, I woke up and daylight was saved and everything was completely fucked. It was easily 10 degrees hotter outside when I take my morning walk and easily way too dark to take my evening walk. So this is a problem. I found a routine that was working for me and the daylight saved it away, baby. I am going to stop losing the weight, and you know I be trying to drop a pants size. I think I'm kind of doing a... My friend had this album that was entirely in between stage banter from Kiss. And so they would introduce the songs, and then they'd introduce a song, and then they'd go to the next track, which was introducing another song or the same song. And I think I'm trying to do a little bit of that crowd work. And it was fun to see how they would try and parlay various things into saying, like, cold gin, for instance. It was a real trip, baby. I think that's a viral video these days. But yeah, I didn't really care too much about daylight savings time, but now I fucking hate it and I wish it was dead. It's gonna be hotter. It's gonna be harder to hike. Oh boy, and you know the spleen gotta hike, baby. That's how I stay fit. Kevin's looking something up on the computer, it looks like, doing his tippy taps on the keyboard, and you know we not making music out here, just sweet, sweet web links.
No, I thought I heard somebody at the door, that's all.
I don't think that's a weird thing to do, is tap on a computer when you hear someone at the door, wouldn't you say?
I was pulling up the security camera because I can't see the door from here. I didn't want to get up there to look.
Boop, 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 boop. Security alert. There's an intruder in the house, and you know he's come to lay some pipe, baby. That's right. The spleen is coming down. I've learned to split myself in two, baby, and I'm playing a prank on you. Oh, yeah. Chef Boyardee.
We got 62 minutes left. You think you can hold this out for 62 more minutes?
I definitely don't think I can do it for 62 minutes, but I feel like I could probably do it for at least another 20 minutes. But the thing is, when you're doing this voice, it just becomes hard to actually think about what to say and to do it all day, baby. I don't know what we're going to talk about. You know what I'm saying?
I do. You're kind of slipping a little bit into Big Copper, too, which is, you know, maybe that can be the next post we have.
I don't know who Big Copper is. I don't know what you're talking about. That sounds like some Jive Baloney. You know what I'm saying?
You're coming up with so many show titles here, too. I'm having trouble keeping up.
Oh, great. That's good. I really don't. I mean, it's not like we had much of a show anyway. It was, so, you know. Well, that was good. That was, what, 13 and a half minutes, it looks like, based on the clock?
That was 9. We went through just almost 10 minutes now since the theme song started.
This timer you have is a nonsense timer. I will never. This timer's a fucking liar. It's a troll.
Okay, so to explain what people, nobody else can see this. This is just me. And
no,
Spencer
they can see it. They're looking.
Well, when I mess up, they can see it. Yes. Okay, I will put it on the screen so that if you're watching this as in the video form, you can see what I'm talking about here. We have this countdown timer that tells us when the show ends. So it doesn't matter when the show starts, the show always ends at almost exactly the same time every week when we're taping these live. So if the shows before us run long or we're not quite ready or whatever, you get a little bit shorter of a show because we try to end the show at the same time.
Yeah, because what we like to do is what we like to do is absorb the blows from the rest of the stream. You know, it's like if someone else causes problems, that's our problem. We don't make problems for other shows. We just deal with problems and absorb it, and we put up with it, and we love it. Well, the weird thing about this, yeah, go ahead.
Any other live show that airs before this also sort of has to do with it too. It's just that they don't.
It's just that they don't.
Yeah,
exactly.
They don't.
Right. The weird thing about the timer, and you can't hear this, but it does the 24 beeps, you know, from the show 24. Doop, doop, doop. And so it's actually really distracting. So but whatever. You got to trust Kevin and his ways, because that's what it means to be the spleens, if you know what I'm saying, baby. What are we gonna?
So what have you done this week since we last talked?
I got a job. I got this new job. I don't know if I've talked about it. I probably can't say much about it. Other than that, I do quality control on a series of video files, and it's incredibly tedious. It's not a terrible job. There's a lot of downtime. That's the thing, is like it's very familiar to when I was a personal assistant, because when you're a personal assistant, there's a lot of time you spend not doing anything, and then you go into action for stretches of time. I want to say I was more kind of locked in as a personal assistant, just because there would be like longer stretches of doing stuff here and there, and it was more involved. So like it took more brain power and thought, whereas this stuff is very simple and mindless. And the problem with being a personal assistant, well, one of the problems is that it still feels like work. So when you're doing downtime, you're not thinking like, oh, what would be productive to do right now? What's a good way to use my time? It's just like, I guess I'll just go on my phone and look at the same apps over and over. And then, you get to the end of the day and it's like, man, there's like 5 hours where I was just sitting around, and I probably could have done something useful. And that's a bad feeling, and that's what sucked. As a personal assistant, I was always like, man, I should be writing, but anytime I was trying to write, it was like, this is just not happening. I can't, this isn't going to work. And so it feels very similar, except now it's like the second job I've had where it's kind of like this, and I'm like, I just wish I had something to be doing. I'm sure if I had stuff to be doing the whole time, I would be bummed out as well, but it's just it's a lot of sitting, which is fine. I was thinking about trying to get weights or something, lift weights, get like prison buff, that could be good, but yeah, I don't know what to do. But it's freelance, so the job's going to end in like the beginning of December, basically, and then maybe we'll get more work next year. I don't know, but so it's not even like a full job, Speaking of job, didn't I send you new podcast art? What happened to the new podcast art?
Oh, it's up. The thing you're seeing didn't update, but it got updated everywhere else, I think.
Is it on? It's on the podcast feed. Well, check out the new podcast art. If you've been thinking like, "Oh, this podcast art is so boring. It's just Spencer's head and it keeps getting bigger." Well, wait till you see this one. It's all new, brand new. I think it better represents kind of where the show's at these days. So look for that in your podcatchers, baby. Oh yeah. So yeah, I've been trying to lose weight. It's been going okay. I mean, I don't know. I've been weighing, I probably talked about this with Schraub, I think, right? But I've been weighing myself every morning, roughly the same time, and going out in the morning and hiking or walking. been counting all my calories and trying to eat low calorie stuff. I haven't really eaten fast food very much. Counting calories, not eating anything. Been trying to hike at night too, or in the evening, or just kind of go walk. There's this place that's kind of like the run up to the hike before you actually get vertical. And if it's too dark, I've been going around there and just kind of walking back and forth. Although I could probably just walk around my neighborhood. It's like roughly the same thing, but it feels different when you're actually like, it's not wilderness, but just kind of like not in your neighborhood, if that makes sense. So, but it's been working. I'm like down 20 pounds, and it's been,
Oh, wow.
like 2 weeks.
That's a tapeworm, I think. Wow.
No. When you're 300 pounds, it's easier to lose weight. But the other thing is a lot of it's water weight, and I just haven't been eating a lot of salt or sugar. And so my water weight is pretty like bottomed out, and that can fluctuate like up to 15, 20 pounds easily. So, you know, I'm kind of like at the bottom, but you know, I'd love a tapeworm. But yeah, no, this happened last time too. But once you start getting down to like 250 or whatever, then it takes like a drastic slowdown. Although, you know, I don't know. But you know, the other thing is it's just you could just see it. Like, again, water weight's a hard thing to judge, but when I eat more or even to my calorie allotments or whatever, like my weight goes up, and it's like, ugh. As soon as I lose all this weight, it's just gonna come back like immediately, and that sucks. It's weird, you know. I got an Apple Watch. I don't know if we want to talk too detailed about that, but the main thing is it counts calories, right? How you burn calories, and so I've been setting it when I'm doing the hikes and stuff, and it'll say like, oh, you burned 1,000 calories today when you do both of your hikes or whatever, and it's like, great, but I don't believe it. And then like, okay, so my calorie allotment's like 1,800 or less, so you'd think if you eat 1,800 calories and you burn 1,000 calories according to the watch, well, you'd still be like at a calorie deficit and your weight would still go down, right? But it doesn't. Like if I eat right at 1,800 and burn calories, it goes up about half a pound or whatever the next day. So it's weird. I'm definitely burning less than the watch is saying, but I don't know how to actually judge it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, whatever. Also, there's just ups and downs. I don't know. Like, I think your body has natural rhythms, so it's like maybe I'm just bumping into those. But who knows? The thing is, like, weight loss, it happens really quick. Like, it's not like I used to think like, oh, you eat food and then like over the course of a couple days or whatever, then it translates that into like, you know, fat, and it adds to your weight. But it adds to your weight like really quick, like within 8 hours, I want to say, of eating a food. It like actually affects your weight. So I don't know how to judge it or whatever. But hey, I don't know. I'd love a tapeworm. I'd love to lose weight faster, but this is working. It's just I can't eat anything that I like. I mean, I can. It's just you can eat like 2 bites. Like a slice of pizza is like 400 calories, and so it's like, what, you buy a pizza and you eat it over the course of like 8 days or 4 days. If you only eat 2 slices of pizza a day and then like a salad, that's not eating. But I talked to this guy Joe, and he said that he's been getting Trader Joe's yogurt, and man, Trader Joe's yogurt is so fucking good. I've never been like a yogurt fan. I've eaten yogurt as like a necessary thing, like when I was like, oh, you got to eat yogurt or whatever. Like, Trader Joe's yogurt is so good, and it's cheap.
So was the Joe that you talked to the Trader Joe?
Yeah. And he was saying, you know what else is good? Everything in the fucking store.
I feel like you might be getting some bad diet advice from this guy.
Yeah, but yogurt's good. It's really filling because it's, you know, fatty or whatever, and fat causes satiation. But I don't know. You can't just eat yogurt I wish I could, but you can't. I've been making chickpea salad.
I love chickpeas.
Yeah, me too. Chickpeas are like, I don't really like beans. I don't hate beans anymore. I used to hate beans, and now I'm kind of like neutral to negative about beans. But yeah, but chickpeas are like kind of my favorite. I don't know if you think. I guess they're garbanzo beans, right? So they're beans. And I used to make hummus and stuff, and hummus is really good. But yeah, chickpea salad is great. Someone recommended chickpea salad. They said that they got like they could buy a tub of chickpea salad at the store, and you could just eat one tub, and that's basically all you need to eat like all day because it's just really filling. And I was like, great. And so I went to all these stores, and none of them had chickpea salad, and I was like, well, fuck. And then I looked it up, and it turns out to be really easy to make. So I've been making that. I get 2 cans of chickpeas and a cucumber and an onion and a bell pepper, and you can do tomatoes or whatever, but I don't like tomatoes, so I didn't do that. And then you just chop them all up and you mix them all together, and you add vinegar and olive oil. You could add soy sauce. I've been wanting to try adding soy sauce. You add some salt. You can add sugar if you want, other spices. I've been trying different stuff. I tried jardinera. I tried just putting some garlic. You know, on TikTok, they call that jarred pre-minced garlic. They call it jarlic, which I think is really funny. So I tried putting some jarlic in there, and it's been good. But you could just do all these different variations. It's been making me want to make other pickles and stuff and see if I can't add like homemade pickles. Like it would be cool to add like pickled red onions probably to it. But yeah, just rice vinegar, and it's good. It just tastes really good. You don't need sugar, but if you add sugar, man, it tastes so fucking good. It tastes insane with sugar. But yeah, it's really good. And I fill up these 2 plastic, what are they, like quart-sized containers, and then you can just like munch on one. You need a little bit more than one of those a day, but if you have one of those and then like, I don't know, I've been meal prepping breakfast burritos, so one of those quarts and then like a meal prep breakfast burrito, you're pretty good. And that's like what, 1,400 calories? You know, you can toss in another yogurt, get to 16, but you know, it depends. But yeah, so that's what I've been doing. It takes a lot of my mental energy. But that's the thing. I feel like if I'm not like super hardcore fixating in on it, it's just so easy to be like, oh, let's just get this, let's just get that, and then you're fucking off the wagon. Like so. But yeah, I don't know. I want to join a gym, but it's really scary to join the gym. I don't want to like scout gyms and see what's a good gym and stuff. I want to go to one that has parking and that isn't super busy, because man, a busy gym is really intimidating. I don't want to be, you know, on a machine when someone else is like, I'm thinking about doing that machine. You know, I would just leave.
Like, do you want to work with a trainer, or do you just want to go sit and lift weights or something?
Well, I would like to work with a trainer just because I think that's accountability. Like, I don't really, I think I can maybe trust myself to go to a gym a little bit. But yeah, in general, I think I just wouldn't do it without a trainer. And certainly I don't really know how to do exercises. And even if you know how to do the exercises, like to make sure you isolate and fire the right muscles is like way different. Like I used to, there was a time where I was working out, and then like at a point, like way after I was working out, I was like doing some of the same exercises, but I like actually learned how to fire the muscles correctly. And I was like, wow, I've never worked out in my life. This is like completely different when you're actually, like, for instance, like you could do a plank, right? But then you could do a plank where you're really like tightening your abs, and they just feel completely different, you know? So like it's, yeah. So I think I want, you know, and I'm afraid of hurting myself. I'm so fat that it's hard to do body weight stuff because it's like relying on your, you know, for instance, a push-up is like relying on your arms and your wrists and your back. But it would be, you know, you're starting with a 300 pounds weight, you know, whereas if you start curling, you know, like a 5 pound, then you can build up, and then you're not, you know, hurting yourself, as opposed to starting with, you know, your entire body weight. You know, maybe if you're smaller, it's not as big of a deal, but as a giant fat guy, like a lot of body weight stuff is tough. Even planks are like, man, I don't know if this is good for my wrists. I used to, this was before I was so fat, but I used to try and do push-ups, and I was doing push-ups okay. Push-ups are another one that it's really easy to do very wrong. Although there's a million types of push-ups, so it's not like doing a push-up wrong. It's kind of just doing a different kind of push-up. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, this has to be the least interesting thing we could possibly talk about, huh?
Actually, no, I'm kind of enjoying this. I don't work out at all, and I should. So hearing you talk about it kind of motivates me a little bit.
Yeah, it's just I really like hiking. It's fun. Well, it's fun when it's not hot. That's the thing. It's California, so it's always fucking hot. But lately we've had a bit of a cold spell, and it's nice to hike when it's like 50 out. Because I don't know about you, but especially because I'm fat, but I like warm up really quick. Like within 2 or 3 minutes, I'm not cold like at all, and then you're just warm out until your workout ends, and you're not feeling like, oh my god, I'm freezing to death. You're just normal because you're hot. But yeah, it's nice. But that's what most of my mental energy is doing these days. Really bad for my fast food review video series that I've been doing on YouTube. You can check it out, youtube.com/thesixler. I don't know if that's actually the right link or whatever, but search the Sixler on YouTube and you'll find my many fast food reviews. But yeah, it's fun to do.
Do you think you could do a healthy fast food series?
Yeah, but the thing is, like, and this is bad as a fast food reviewer. That's what I am. I'm a fast food reviewer. But I don't like reviewing things that don't appeal to me. Like, so there's new items that it's like, I don't want to order a new item. It's like, oh, this is like new fish sandwich or something. It's like, I don't want a fish sandwich. And so like, I don't review it. Like, I just don't do a video. So like, it's not as bad to do like a healthy thing, but like the healthy stuff at fast food restaurants is not very appealing. So it's like, I don't know if I'd want to get it just to do a video of it, if that makes sense. Although I could, but it's also easier just to not eat fast food than to like go and be all like, oh, what can I do? Because also a lot of the healthy fast food stuff is not like super healthy. I don't know.
Well, what I would be interested in if you did this would be like, for somebody who likes fast food, what can I get at this place that's not terrible for me? Because that's always my problem, is that I'm staring at the menu, usually through a drive-through, and I'm like, I have no idea what's not awful. What's going to taste good, what's not 2,700 calories per serving, that kind of thing. So if that's what you did, I would be all over watching that.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of it's just portion control. Like McDonald's, most of the stuff you can get at McDonald's are pretty manageable. You just need one. Like, you wouldn't necessarily get 2 McDoubles. You'd get like 1 McDouble. But then you eat 1 McDouble and you're still fucking hungry. Like, you might as well get something that's actually legitimately healthy. Like, one of the healthier things on the menu is the oatmeal. Like, I think it's a breakfast item, but McDonald's has oatmeal. But I've had the McDonald's oatmeal, and it's not very filling. Like, you're better off just like making oatmeal yourself or doing something else,
You find like you succumb to the temptation, like the McDonald's that's closest to me, like you can get a large fries, or you can get their family size basket of fries for like 20 cents more. So I'm like,
family size basket of fries.
Yeah, they just started doing this recently too. And it's like, well, okay, it's only 20 cents more for like 3 times the fries. I'd be an idiot not to get that.
Yeah.
So I do. And then by the time I've made it home, I've eaten the majority of that, because you eat fries while you're driving. They're the perfect driving food.
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel either too full to eat the actual meal that I bought, or I eat the meal anyway, and then I feel disgusting because I ate a family size basket of fries plus my overeating food, Yeah,
so, like, that happens to me with soda, but not fries, if that makes sense. I kind of, well, I often don't order fries a lot of times, or I even don't order combos. I just get a drink. But I will go for like the big drink, and man, soda is really bad for you. It's been great not drinking soda. But what were you going to say? Were you...
Do you go for the, like, if you're trying to lose weight, do you go for the diet sodas, or is that not...
Well, I mean, I really haven't. I think it can work, yeah, but a lot of, I don't know. I don't want to be like a diet soda is bad kind of thing, but most of the fake sugars have various things. Like, I don't know, like sucralose is like related to diabetes, and it's like, oh, I'm doing this no sugar soda because I don't want to get diabetes, and then it's like, well, this causes it. So there's a theory that I don't know how tested it is, but there's a theory that eating sweet foods, even if it's fake sweetener, still like they bind to your taste receptors for sweet, and binding to those taste receptors prime certain hormones to accept like fat translation or whatever, that like form fat cells. And so like it's not as it's different than actually consuming calories, but like it's still sending like the signals to your body. I don't know whether that's necessarily tested or whatever. And anytime you're talking about diet stuff, it's really hard to do anything other than observational studies, which are not very conclusive, because they at best form a really tenuous correlation. Certainly don't do any causation. But yeah, I'm kind of, but it's more that I don't really like diet soda that much, but I've had a couple diet sodas. I mean, I was doing those Powerade, or not Powerade, the Replenish Zero from 7-Eleven, and that was really great, but I didn't realize it had sucralose. I thought it just had, there's like potassium sulfame or something like that, and that's fine apparently for you. It's not bad for you, but sucralose is not super good for you. And so when I found out that it was sucralose, I haven't really been drinking it very much. I would drink like 1 or 2 of those a day, and now I basically am not drinking it. But when I'm, in the past, I've done it too. But when I'm trying to lose weight and stuff, and I live in my car, so I mean, I have a room, don't get me wrong, but I do a lot of car life. But I would go to 7-Eleven and get their giant like gallon jugs of water, just because 7-Eleven, I think they have the best water, like the 7-Eleven brand water. I don't like Arrowhead. I don't like Crystal Geyser. Most of the waters I think are pretty bad. Smart water's expensive. That's the other thing, is like the decent bottled waters are pretty expensive. So the balance for me has been the 7-Eleven water. I think it's just really good. And then, when I would get fast food, I would just get an item or whatever, and then I drink the water and the jug in my car, And so I've been doing that. It's just getting more of these jugs of water, which is great. Water's good. I like water. There's some people that don't like water, and it's like, man, that's gotta suck. I have a friend who, he says if he drinks like a glass of water or more than a glass of water, he like feels gross, like physically ill. It's like, oh boy, that's not good, because I love chugging water. Drink a lot of water, folks. If you're healthy, that means you have to pee constantly. That's what health is, apparently. Just constantly pee. So I haven't really talked about the therapy because we've had guests and other stuff come up, but I actually stopped seeing my therapist. So I've been going to this EMDR therapist. I talked about it a little bit, but based on bilateral stimulation of your brain, and we learn tapping, and then we do the desensitization kind of therapy, which is really strange. I don't think I talked about it, but basically you tell her like in very broad strokes, like what your trauma is or what you're upset about or what kind of negative cycles of thoughts you're having. And then she gives you, there's different forms of these EMDR devices. But the one I was using are headphones that are connected to like what's essentially a Walkman that just make beeps on either side of the cups. So it's like a beep on the left and then a beep on the right. It goes beep, beep, beep. And then she can turn up the speed or turn it down. And so when we were just kind of doing more meditation-y stuff, it's like pretty slow. It's like beep, beep. But then when you're doing the desensitization stuff, it turns up pretty fast. It's like beep, 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 beep. And so it's in one ear and then the other, and then the one and then the other. And so she wants you to like sit in your negative feelings and like try and like relive kind of to an extent, like put yourself back in like the mindset or the trauma or whatever. And then she'll start the beeps. And you'll just essentially be thinking about it, like you're thinking about, how everybody hates you and no one will ever love you and stuff. And then the beeps are happening and you're like, man, this sucks. I hate everything. I hate myself. This sucks. And but the thing is, the beeps, they kind of are distracting, if that makes sense. And I don't know if that's how it's supposed to work, but it's like you're trying to have this negative train of thought, but the beeps are kind of interrupting it a little bit. And so the beeps go for like 30 seconds or so. And then she stops them and she says, okay, like, where's your mind at? Or what are you thinking or whatever? I don't know exactly. And then you say out loud, like, oh, I was just thinking about how no one will ever love me. And then she'll say, go with that. And then so you'll think about that for a while, and then your mind will kind of wander a little bit. And then she'll stop it after 30 more seconds. And she says, what's on your mind or whatever. And then you say, like, oh, I hate myself. And then she's like, go with that. But like, it just keeps happening. Every 30 seconds, she's like, what's up? And then you say what you're thinking or whatever, what you've been thinking. And then she says, go with that. And then you do it for, I don't know, like 30 or 40 minutes. And I don't know, the thing is, like, I'm like a people pleaser to an extent. I like to do my job. Like, I like to perform and fulfill expectations. So I don't know, like, how much I'm like doing it to like make like a happy ending or whatever, but generally speaking, towards the end of the session, your thoughts would just be a lot less negative. Like, you wouldn't be like, at the start, you'd be kind of more dwelling in it. But as the beeps are like interrupting you, it kind of pushes you away from continuing this kind of negative spiral of thought. And then you just have like more constructive thoughts or more neutral thoughts, like one of the things is like, I was trying, like, it would go like, oh, I hate myself, to what's wrong with me, to I'm fucked up. And it's like, why am I fucked up? I'm fucked up because I don't do this and that and this. And why don't you do this and that and this? And it's like, oh, because I feel like my parents were forcing me to do this. And like, well, how did that make you feel? And it's like, I felt like I was fucked up because my parents were kind of projecting the idea that I was wrong and I was fucked up, even as a little kid. It's like, oh, they're clearly seeing this problem. That means I must be fucked up, because the way they're acting is they're acting like there's some huge problem and I'm just being myself. And then that got me thinking, like, oh, it's interesting, because like, if I saw someone else that was doing those same things, I wouldn't think like, wow, that person's fucked up. I would be like, oh, that person's preference is not to do this sort of stuff. So like, if I stop judging myself by this like image projected by my parents and start judging myself on a more like objective metric, it's not that it's fucked up, it's that you just have this preference, and it would be harmful to then convey that you think the person is fucked up just because they have this predilection or whatever, and so that, like, that's the thing, is like, you start just by spiraling, and your thoughts start meandering. And or at least for me, like, I don't know if other people feel like this, but for me, it kind of felt like it would naturally move to like a place of more understanding and stuff. And so yeah, it usually felt better, but like I said, I'm like a people pleaser, so I'm not sure if I kind of did that as an arc myself to kind of like present to the therapist, look, we ended the session and I'm having all these positive thoughts. It's hard to say, but I will say that like after the first couple of sessions, I was feeling a lot better. And yeah, I think like I was feeling a lot better. I was having a lot less negative spirals. But also I think that there was just a time in my life that it wasn't super taxing, if that makes sense. There wasn't a lot of terrible things going wrong. So like it felt really good, but it also might have just been because I was kind of like on an upswing, if you will. And since then I've had more like downturns, and when I have downturns, my thoughts kind of still do that same thing, but they kind of spiral again. But I will say that the spirals, they don't feel as intense and they don't feel as all consuming as they once did. They feel a lot more manageable. There was a time, so basically, we went through all these big kind of traumas and big negative, dark clusters or whatever in my brain, through the therapist. We got through basically everything. And then I was like, I just kind of want to, it's not very talky. It's not like you're talking to your therapist and your therapist is talking back. It's like you're just doing this kind of series of steps with the beeping and the saying and the 30 seconds and the continue. So I came in and like, cause she's also, at least she's like trained as a psychiatrist or a talk therapist, but I don't know if she actually does that very much. So I was kind of saying that I just wanted to talk about stuff. And so we did a couple sessions where we were just talking about stuff, but at the end of one of them, at the end of like the last one, she was like, well, you seem fine. Like, you don't seem like, if there's nothing more that you want to tackle EMDR wise, like it seems like you're in a good place. You know what you're doing. You have plans, you got a job, you got hobbies and stuff, you got friends, etc. And so, maybe you could just call me if you ever need me again, but you might be good. And I was like, I wasn't really expecting that. I was kind of hoping to like keep going, but I was like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. So I haven't been in a couple weeks, and there is some times that I had some bad stuff happened. I was feeling pretty bummed out, and I was like, oh, I should go back. And then I was like, well, let's just see what sitting with this shit for a couple weeks is like, and then if I'm still fucked over about it, then I'll contact her or whatever. And so since then, it was, it has felt bad. It's not like that's the thing, is I kind of want it to be brainwashing. I kind of want it to be like hypnosis, where you're like just fine all the time and nothing's ever wrong. But it's not like that. It's just kind of desensitization a little bit. So I've had some tough times. It's not been super fun. But at the end of the, like I said, it's been like 2 weeks or whatever, and I do feel like kind of over that. Like I'm like, okay, now I'm kind of feeling back to closer to neutral, and it doesn't feel overwhelming and bad. And it was cool. Like I just got through it, and it wasn't like, the end of the world or whatever. So I don't know. I kind of feel like I want to go back at some point, or maybe get a proper talk therapist or something. But I'm feeling pretty good overall. I was thinking that that's the thing, is like the therapist costs a lot of money. So like with all that money, I could probably hire a trainer for, several sessions for the same money, and that might help me more or something, So that's what I've been thinking about doing. That's why I've been trying to think about going to a gym and stuff. But it's really interesting stuff. I did not expect to, I've been saying graduate. I don't think she said that, but I didn't expect to like graduate so quickly. But I don't have like big traumas. Like my shit's not that bad. So I imagine people with more intense shit that they've lived through, they probably need a lot more sessions or whatever than I did. And maybe, she also what do you call it? She does like payment scaling or whatever if you need like financial help or whatever. So she was charging me like half her normal rate. So like in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, she kind of probably would rather have a client that charges that she can charge full rate, So I don't know. But hey, I got a lot out of it. I don't know what to think of it now that I'm not going. It seems kind of weird, but I feel pretty good. I don't know. So that's that. Any questions?
What's your goal with going to therapy? Like, do you want to go to therapy as a continuing thing, just to be able to let off steam and have someone that you can confide in and things like that, and go through these treatments like this? Or are you looking to develop the tools yourself so that you don't need that in the future?
Well, I mean, I think it's both. I think there's an extent that I just want a therapist to talk to, but also I don't know that I need a therapist just to talk to. I feel like I can just talk to people or whatever, but there's got to be stuff that I'm missing, but like that someone else would be able to help me, and I think that would be good to go to a therapist for. But I don't know, man. It's just hard. It's hard to find a therapist and one that takes your insurance and whatever. And I'm on Medi-Cal, so that makes it even harder because that's not even like real insurance. But Medi-Cal is pretty cool. They gotta spend more on socialized medicine, but Medi-Cal has been surprisingly manageable for being, a California provided socialized medicine sort of plan. It works pretty well, I guess. Although I haven't had anything serious happen. Maybe we'll find the faults of it. What else? Okay, I got a question for you, Kev.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
I've tried therapy before, and every time, I guess I'm a very private person. I don't like, I don't like talking about myself at the best of times, and I especially don't want to a total stranger just reveal my problems. Like I know some people that's very liberating, and that's very just therapeutic in its own. Is just, hey, this person who knows nothing about me is going to listen. But to me, it just felt so invasive, and like, I don't know. I have trouble, I guess, articulating why it was such a big deal for me. But it was something that I just could not do. Like, and if I'd forced myself to do it, I would feel like almost dirty afterwards of just like, this was just this violating experience I had. And I don't know if that's just a quirk of my personality, or if I'm doing it wrong, or if it gets better or what. But do you ever have those feelings, or is that just a Kevin problem?
I mean, I think I have a version of that, but it seems like your thing is specific. I think you have to have a good relationship with your therapist. I think if you have a trust, a built up trust between you, it gets easier to kind of let off steam and stuff. But yeah, the thing is, for me, I really, I've always been on the internet since a kid, and I really don't have a problem like telling random internet people what's going on in my life. Like even probably to a fault. Like it's probably a problem that I'm so comfortable with it, but it feels fake. Although, especially as you become more of a public figure, it's a lot more real to like dump stuff on the internet, strangers. But it kind of felt like you're just shitting it out into the void, and it's like, what's going to happen? It's just going to get sucked up into the sun and get burnt up or whatever. But I've definitely, with therapists specifically, I've had therapists where it's like, well, I want to present myself in a positive light. I don't want to like talk about the fault that I have in situations, even though I know like the fault I have in those situations. I don't want to reveal that to my therapist. I want to make myself look good and paint everyone out, like paint myself as a victim of all these evil people. And if your approach is that, you're not going to get a lot of help. That's again why the trust comes in. You have to be able to really open up and talk about like anything that comes, that could be helpful for them to understand what's going on in your head. And if you can't do that, I think it vastly restricts what good you can come out of it. Although I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I'm sure there's a way to do it where you for like in your case, like maybe you could just reveal very little for a long time, and then over time you might feel more comfortable revealing a bit more, and then eventually you get somewhere. I don't know, but that's kind of my version of that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I'm this weird hermity kind of recluse where it's like, okay, I've known you 3 years now. I can maybe let you in a little bit, and that's really hard to go with someone that you're paying a ridiculous amount of money to every week to sit there for an hour with, Yeah. And I just never could get past that. And I also sort of felt like I was paying someone just to tell me things I already knew, like, yeah, I know that's my problem. I know that's, and you're not telling me anything I didn't already hear in my head.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how I feel a lot of times. That's again, I think if you have a better relationship with your therapist, so maybe you're going to like the wrong therapist, but I've definitely had that same experience. It's like, I don't just want you to tell me the shit I've been thinking the whole time. Like, I know that. I want you to like reveal things that I wasn't aware of that'll help me like look at things in a different light or something, when they're just like saying like, yeah,
I'm not trying to invalidate what you're taking away from it by the way either. I'm not trying to say like, oh, this is wrong because I don't like it. I'm trying to figure out what it is I'm missing from the process.
No, you can't hide it. You're saying it's wrong. Kevin's anti-therapy, and he thinks that everyone who goes is a sucker who just wants to give money to the man. I'll tell you this:
I am a Scientologist. That's my problem.
Yeah, Werner Herzog. He's anti-therapy. He's anti-psychotherapy, and he said that psychotherapy is illuminating the mind, and in that sense, it's kind of like if you just had lamps on really bright everywhere in your house, so there's like no darkness anywhere. It's like, no, sometimes you need darkness. There's stuff that's good that it's not fully revealed. Like once you know every single thing that's going on in your mind, like now you can't like deny any of it. You just drive yourself insane with the knowledge of what you are inside, which I don't necessarily agree with, but I think it's an interesting take at the very least. And I do think there are people who don't necessarily have a very strong drive to better themselves. And I think for people like that, learning a lot about themselves isn't necessarily going to lead to growth. It could lead to them kind of losing it and going crazy, or it could lead to them like becoming more effective at being bad people, if that makes sense. So I don't know. I think overall he's probably wrong, but also there's more forms of therapy than kind of the therapy he was kind of talking about as being bad. So I don't know. Anyway, I got a question for you, Kevin, and this is kind of like therapy if you think about it. Uh-oh. How do you tell someone that most of the thoughts that they have and most of the things that they say all just suck really bad?
Can you be a little bit more specific? Like what sucks about all of it.
It's just bad. Like, I don't know, like for Donald Trump, for instance, like,
Okay.
nothing he says is good. Like, it's all bad. Like, it's just everything that comes out, it sucks. So, like, how would you tell him, like, hey, man, your brain is broken and all the things you do and say are just bad. And I wish you knew that so you could stop, or like. But the thing is, yeah, go ahead.
I think most people in that situation either already know that and do not care, or they're so oblivious that even if you slap them in the face with it, they're going to think you're wrong or jealous or not getting it or don't understand their genius or something like that. Like, it's really hard to convince somebody that they are the bad guy, because I really believe that, like, in everybody's own movie about their life, no one is ever the bad guy. No one is ever the idiot that gets killed first, running away from the killer. Nobody is ever the villain. Mm-hmm. So giving people evidence that contradicts that, I found, is one of the hardest things to get through to somebody. Like trying to tell somebody, no, you're not the main character here. You're not the person you think you are. People tend to just not listen to that. They don't want to hear it. And even if deep down they kind of acknowledge it, your gut instinct is to just back away from that immediately and recoil of like, no, that's not right. So
yeah,
I think without more context, I can't give you more specifics, but I just know that's an uphill battle.
Yeah, I think, like, I guess my version was maybe a bit more optimistic, but like, it's what you're saying is probably like a more brutal real truth. But I was thinking, like, well, you tell them that what they say sucks, but it's like, it's still, that's their brain. They still are, that it's still going to pop out like bad stuff. So then it'll pop out something, and then they'll go like, oh wait, this sucks, this is bad, I'm a bad person, I hate myself, this sucks, now I'm feeling bad. And then the next thing that they come out with will just be still bad. It won't like become better by them knowing it sucks, if that makes sense. I don't know. Anyway, I think Subway is doing a promotion where if you change your name to Subway, you get free sandwiches. I think it could be good if I change my name to Subway. What do you think?
Was this the dumb idea that you wanted to tell Subway and you don't think they're going to acknowledge it?
No. This is like a thing I saw on the news that they'll give you free sandwiches for life or something like that. And it's like, man, I could. Well, it's Subway Crittenden. It's like a pretty good name,
I mean, I'm not going to lie. That does sound really cool if it wasn't about the restaurant. I just think Subway itself has gotten themselves into so many unforced errors in their their long history that I can't imagine being associated with Subway is not going to put you along the same lines as Jared in people's minds now.
Yeah, and Subway is such a, like, they used to be kind of like, I guess back before Jared got, arrested or whatever the fuck, Subway used to be seen as like a more okay place, and now everyone's like fucking Subway. It's like Arby's in people's mind. It's like the lowest common fucking shit. No one ever wants to eat Subway, etc. Where it just didn't used to seem like that. So yeah. Speaking of unforced errors, you hear, this is horrible, but there was a teenager that died drinking this Panera bread, caffeinated lemonade. Panera bread had this caffeinated lemonade that had so much caffeine, like really, really high levels of caffeine. And they offered free refills, but it's like, first of all, they shouldn't, like, it's more than like energy drinks, I think. Like, it was like a dangerous amount of caffeine, and then you get refills, and this kid was drinking it and they died, and it's horrible. And it's like, man, Panera bread, you don't need that much caffeine to make caffeinated lemonade. Like, you could do very little and it would be fine. Yeah. Like, because people aren't drinking a bunch of soda and then dying, so like even Mountain Dew, it's like that doesn't happen. Like, so it's like you're making something that is generously in the same ballpark as Mountain Dew. You don't need to make it way more caffeinated than that. And caffeine, it's a poison. Like the lethal dose of caffeine is, it exists, it's horrible. Anyway, nothing more to say about that.
Was she
tragedy?
Like, did she know she had a caffeine intolerance and just didn't realize that lemonade had caffeine in it there, or was this just a total? I've read the story, but I don't remember the details of it. Because I think, yeah, go ahead. I could understand going into Panera, them handing you a cup and you going, ooh, lemonade, filling it up without even realizing that there is 8 cups of coffee worth of caffeine in there. and not knowing, because when I was much younger, like I'm gonna say like maybe 9-10 years old, if I drank even a little bit of caffeine, I had all kinds of problems. Like I would sweat, I could feel the heart, it felt like my heart was hitting my rib cage.
Yeah.
And I would be convinced, like, it's like Jeff drinking caffeine, that would happen to me when I was a kid. And then somehow I grew out of that. So like I could totally get that if she had that condition and just went, oh, lemonade, that's harmless, and took some. But I can't imagine the amount that would be in caffeine could kill a person who didn't already have a problem,
Well, let's see. How much caffeine is in a Coke? 34 milligrams is in a Coke. Let's see, cup of coffee. It's 95 milligrams. So I want to say is in Panera Bread charged lemonade. Okay, so what did we just say? 35 is in a Coke. 90 is in a cup of coffee. 390 milligrams is in charged lemonade. That's just too much. Like that's over 4 cups of coffee. Like, and coffee, that's an obscene amount. Like that's literally, even for 1 cup, if you didn't do refills, like that's not a healthy dose. I don't think 1 cup of the lemonade is like a toxic dose necessarily, but like, let's just look at what's a toxic dose of caffeine.
I have to imagine though that if you're drinking that, like, did you try it? Because they pulled that after this, didn't they?
I hope they pulled it. I didn't try it. It was something I wanted to try, but
I know caffeine tastes kind of like sucking on an aspirin. Like I can't imagine that would taste
good. It's bitter.
Unless they put so much sugar in it that it was almost a syrup, which I guess maybe lemonade kind of is.
Yeah, lemonade's a syrup. I'm not really finding anything. This says a lethal. Well, this is per liter, so I don't know. This says that I'm not really looking into too much. It's that 180 milligrams per liter of blood is a lethal dose. So how many liters does a person have in their blood? How many liters of blood in the human body? Just Googling stuff. 5 liters. So you have 3 of those. That's like getting to a toxic dose. And I don't think 3 lemonade is very unreasonable, because it's lemonade. And I think you don't necessarily, and even if they're saying it's caffeinated, I don't think you're thinking, 390 milligrams in one thing. And also, if you get a large, I don't know what they're doing for sizes or whatever, but 12 ounces is like a serving of a beverage usually. And then you can get like a 20 or 30 ounce beverage, so it's like, this is just vastly irresponsible. It's hard to see anything around it,
It is. It seemed crazy that Panera pulled that too, because I would never think of Panera as go there and get an energy drink.
Yeah, and it's just, I think energy drinks have way less anyway. So just really quick, we should break into emails. But just really quick, I wrote down a dream in my podcast notes that I have, and it's just an interesting, I don't know. I had a dream that I was at Starburns and a bunch of famous music artists were recording music in the booth. Like literally it was Drake and DJ Khaled was there. And there was someone who was there, like one of the rappers, but it wasn't one of them. I don't think it was like a different rapper who was there. And he was saying that he played Magic and he was talking about how he had a cool car. And for some reason, my dad was there at Starburns and my dad was like, no, you don't. You don't have a cool car. And then the guy was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I got so embarrassed. I tried to shut my dad up by biting his tongue, which you shouldn't bite someone's tongue, not even in a dream. But I was like, man, this is some symbolic ass shit. And if you want to me to interpret your dream, send us an email. thathappenspod@gmail.com. Maybe we'll read your email. It would be cool, like if someone had a cool dream that they want interpreted. Whatever. I'm being too cynical, but it would suck if some people were like, I want to be on the podcast. Let me just make up a stupid, crazy dream so people want to talk to me. But it would be cool to have, like, get someone to join the Zoom and then we talk to them about their dream and try to interpret it. That could be fun. But anyway, let's read an email. Okay, Dalton writes, Hey Spencer and Kevin, I had this idea earlier today and was just re-listening to the episode Side Character Eyes, where Spencer said to Jeff, I hand deliver my mail when it's to you. So that was the sign from the universe that I need to share this idea with you. What if we, the audience, wrote letters to Jeff? But we obviously can't send them because we don't have his address, as we shouldn't. We all know Kevin does. So what if we send the letters in the form of emails, and then they get handwritten by either Spencer or Kevin, and then physically sent to Jeff on our behalf? Okay, just a weird thought I had. If you don't like it, that's okay. Thanks, Dalton, for the email. I don't know. I'm imagining an email that you would write that you want to be delivered to Jeff. And I'm not thinking anything good. I'm not imagining something where Jeff would read it and be like, oh, this is good. I'm glad I read this. I'm glad this was given to me, So, I mean, there's a version of what we could do it. What would be more interesting is if you sent us letters to Jeff and we just read them on the podcast. And it's just, Dear Jeff. And then, we just read it. I kind of like that. Also, it's less work for me that way, Handwriting the letter, that's a lot of work. But I do like that idea. Thanks, Dalton. And keep emailing us. This one looks more. You got anything to say about that one?
I mean, I like the idea of letters to Jeff. Maybe we could all write a letter to Jeff and read them on the air next week and see if he'll ever come back or not.
Yeah, that would be cool. Also, there's also like a way, it's like, I was just kind of imagining if it's like a letter to Jeff where it's like this kind of wistful, like Civil War era kind of like storytelling letter, I don't know. We'd have to kind of like figure out what the actual vibe of it is, but that'd be something. This is Aaron writes, Hey Spencer and Kevin, and just so you know, Kevin, this is more of an email to you, but hey. Okay. All right. Just a quick note that you've probably been alerted to, but a couple audio episodes of the podcast aren't available, including the most recent one, Water is Dope. And man, why is ham so salty? My podcast app can't download it, and if I load the RSS feed directly or try from the website, I get a 404 not found. I enjoy watching the videos and live stream, but rarely have time, so the audio version is preferred. Also, one tiny little thing is that the podcast art shows up super low res in Google Podcasts. Looking at your RSS file, it seems to be because you only have a 3232 image tagged in there. I'm sure Kevin has the tech to know how to get this updated, and I know you're very leery of anyone offering their help, but if you need a quick hand with this, just let me know. I know you're riddled with angst about the purpose and format of the show, but as others told you, I enjoy listening to you ramble and rant. Keep up the good work, or don't. I'm not your supervisor. Aaron. Does this make any sense to you?
I will look into that. This is the first I've heard of this problem, but I will definitely look into that as soon as we're off recording this.
Yeah, and I have Apple Podcasts, but I listen to those ones. Like that one. I'm like the only podcaster that listens to his own podcast episodes. Like almost every podcast host is like, I can't listen to my podcast. I never listen to it. I listen to every one, which I'm sure I should talk about in therapy. But thanks, Aaron. I don't know if that's a you problem or whatever. People have always said this thing about the Google Podcast, but I have no idea what to do about it.
I kind of inherited how all of this was set up from Starburns with very little in the way of instructions or guidance of what they did. So it's possible this got submitted to Google Podcasts differently than the other ones, and it's looking in the wrong place because those files have to be there or I get an error message. So I will look into it. Yeah.
Well, that's Starburns for you. Anyway, Zachary writes, Good day, good sir. And again, you can send us an email, thathappenspod@gmail.com. Please send us one. Every time I read an email, that's one lesser email we can read in the future. Good day, good sir. I just wanted to thank you and Kevin for keeping That Happens rolling. I have spectrum, emotional, and behavioral issues, so I tend to isolate heavily. The only thing keeping me going outside of work is watching or listening as a game to That Happens, Harmontown, and HarmonQuest. Also, the food reviews on your Patreon are top-notch. I wish to play D&D, but the nature of my work makes regular playing time impossible. I live vicariously through the podcast. Thanks for everything, including all just being you, I guess is just the email. With all love, the Toothless Boy Wonder. Whoa, toothless. That's hard to understand. I wonder why he's toothless. Well, thanks, Zach. I want you to know that there's a podcast called Hey Riddle Riddle, and you should check it out. It's a good podcast if you want a lot of podcasts to get through to live. And speaking of Hey Riddle Riddle, the strike ends and the Riddlebot returns. Riddlebot's got a new riddle for us, Kevin.
Okay.
Writes,
Paste it to me too, so we can get ChatGPT's solution for this while we're solving it.
I'm just gonna read. Wait, no. Okay. Okay, so don't I read these in a robot voice? Where's the fucking chat? Where's the chat? Chat, okay. Why is chat in the more tab? That seems more important than the summary button or the AI companion button. Oh, you know that the AI companion can like have Zoom summarize a meeting if you stop paying attention. What an insane feature. Anyway, dear Spencer and Kevin, like all promising startups, Riddlebot's cutting-edge technological advances seemed like the next giant leap in generative AI technology. Unfortunately, so many big tech companies making waves in Silicon Valley, the reports of Riddlebot's capabilities have been vastly exaggerating. Riddlebot Inc. did not use controversial scraped Book 3 archive to train Riddlebot's generative AI. We have, in truth, been using one engineer in a low-paid, non-unionized gig role. As such, this independent contractor has been masquerading as Riddlebot and was on strike for many months. With a tentative agreement, Riddlebot Inc. would like to offer you the following riddle for your podcast and prove to our shareholders that we are, in fact, not a Ponzi scheme. And here's the riddle. A master of stealth, I creep unseen. I seek high places, blending in with the green. I like to climb, but I do take my time. My grip is renowned, but my choke's not a crime. So, a master of stealth, I creep unseen. I seek high places, blending in with the green. I like to climb, but I do take my time. My grip is renowned, but my choke's not a crime.
I have a guess.
Go for it.
I think it's a vine. It's
green, vine or
it
ivy.
Climbs, it chokes. It takes a long time to do that. But I don't know if I'd call it a master of stealth, though.
That's the thing.
Creeping unseen.
Well, it creeps unseen in the sense that you don't see it growing, I guess.
Yeah, but I don't know if I'd call a vine stealthy. Like
yeah,
ivy or like,
I mean, they're silent, I guess. But yeah, it seems right. What did AI say? Did I post it? I don't see the post now.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see.
Oh, I got a pop up over
it. It says actually a vine or ivy too.
Okay. Well, we all guessed that.
Let me see if it has any other.
I can tell you that it is a vine. I got the answer, and it's a vine.
Oh, okay.
Well,
it also could be a sloth. It says, but it's apologizing already since that's a bad guess. But it says a sloth would be its second choice.
Well, sloth is a master of stealth, if you think about it. I mean, a lot of wild animals are kind of a master of stealth in the sense that we go around and people don't see.
Yeah, it's slow, and they do grip onto trees really well, and they blend in with the green trees when they've climbed up them. It likes to climb. Yeah, I could almost see. I can't imagine getting choked out by a sloth, but yeah, I would accept sloth as an answer, though. I think.
Yeah, and they blend in with the green because some sloths have like an algae or something growing on them, which makes them kind of green. So there's something there too. Okay, so let's just read this last one. This one's from Matt. And Matt also sends a PS. He's written a lot of music, and you can have any of it for free. So he sent some music and other emails as well. So, hey, Spencer and Kevin, been pondering it a while, messaging you guys. Big Harmontown fan. You truly brought the best part. I'm a huge fan of improv, so knew Jeff back from Who's Line. I did too. It was kind of crazy being like, oh, that's Jeff from the fucking TV show I watched when I was a kid. Anyway, and what really made me addicted to the show is the D&D. These days, it feels like they never make new movies. It's always just a remake. What's nice about D&D is that you're creating a story, and it's rooted in stats and logic, but also disorder. I say that part of what broke Dan in Harmontown was Trump getting elected. I didn't think it detracted from the show per se, but because I usually always agreed, but it did change the focus a bit. I think where you would truly shine is obviously in D&D, because you were able to wrangle the hilarious drunks and craft an original story, all while thinking on your feet. My favorite characters were always the NPCs you made, lol. I also think you added a lot to the podcast by generally being smart, and you have a very keen timing sense and ability to riff with others. You just drop knowledge. It was great. Now comes the part where I say the potentially hurtful part. I should have reread this email. Probably listened to Harmontown 4 to 5 times through, and it still today remains entertaining. I think what that happens, the problem is you're the leader and Kevin's the wingman. There's no chance for you to drop knowledge on someone. I think where people crave your humor is riffing off other people's madness. Boy, do I miss D&D and Jeff, people who are forcing you to respond with facts and funny context. I'm a fan of That Happens podcast, and I've listened to every episode, but I think it would catch more fire if you set it up where you play D&D or use your creative storytelling and world creating skills to make us all laugh. I think it benefit you to have an overpowering guest so that you can use your quick wit to fill their gaps. I think that's why Real Abed works as a guest, because he likes to take the mic, haha. I bet even 2+ guests could be solid. I think the parts of Harmontown where Dan would talk about the personal life were critical to making the show funny, like the drunk airport story, the driver that hit his house, the tree, etc. It makes you feel like a friend of his. I also think there's a place for politics because it's just so prevalent and shit's so insane, but I don't think that's what makes you a star. A recent episode is that talking about job search was like that, made me relate to you. I absolutely hate those assessments where they're trying to trap you. Like you said, sometimes 2 solid answers. And it makes me so mad. I think you're onto something with AI. Kevin is great. I love when he talks about video games, his professional life. He's got an interesting story. He's smart too. I like his technical input. Hopefully this doesn't make you mad, and I'll keep listening. I'm sure you get annoyed when people say you need to play D&D, and I'm sure there's a reason you don't. But that's like, I bet Bon Jovi sometimes wants to die the 500,000th time. He sings Living on a Prayer, but it's what makes money. It's what people love. It's what's special about yours is it's not hack, it's always original. I will say that Bon Jovi actually gets paid to sing Living on a Prayer. So, that's part of the math he's doing when he's dying inside is I'm making money. My only question is, what's Kevin's deal? Just kidding. Loved listening to your riffs. Keep it up. Or loved listening to your riffs. Keep it up. Do you think there will ever be another Harmontown? Do you speak to Dan anymore? Have a good one. Matt. Yeah, I haven't talked to Dan much, but we do technically talk. I don't talk to a lot of people that I'm, not in direct, like if we're not going to hang out or anything, I don't know. I don't reach out. And Dan's the same way. We don't just like go checking in on people very much, but we talk. I don't think there will be another Harmontown, but who knows? Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to do D&D. It's just not easy. What else? I think when Jeff was on the show, I was bad at kind of doing what this guy's talking about. The kind of jumping in and quoting funny facts. Like I found it kind of hard to I was just kind of going yeah, crazy, when Jeff was talking. And I didn't feel very much like I was doing on Harmontown. I think part of it's just the Zoom. And that's the same thing with Abed too. I talk differently to Abed when we're in the same room than when he's on the Zoom and stuff. So I think it's harder for me to do that kind of popping in sort of bit so much when I have guests. Although I think the episodes with guests are way better. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's just hard for me to do that same thing that I was on Harmontown. I think it's very weird that so many of our fans have listened to Harmontown 4 to 5 times over. I just think it's troubling. To me, it says something about those people that A, I would rather not know, and B, it's this doesn't seem good. It's I don't know. It's I don't know. I mean, part of it's is because I lived it, and it's and now I'm moved on, but it's bro, you got to move on. I don't know. And maybe you don't. Maybe it's fine to just re-listen to the podcast, but I just that is the feeling I get is very much man, something is going on. I'm not digging it. If that makes sense. No offense, man.
Do you think it's the same as just people who marathon The Office or Friends or whatever over and over and over again? Is it that same vibe, or do you think the Harmontown thing's different?
I think podcasts feel different in that sense, if that makes sense. But I do think it's kind of weird, the people that watch The Office over and over. I don't think it's as troubling to me, but maybe that's because I'm not in the office. Maybe the people who are in the office do think that's strange to do. I don't know. But yeah, so yeah, I do kind of think it's weird, and it doesn't strike me as troubling, if that makes sense. So, but it gives me the same kind of feeling for sure. Anyway, that's the show. Patreon.com/thesixler if you want to give me money. Yeah, you don't have to give me money. Check out my YouTube videos if you want. They're me talking about food. It's kind of, I kind of like, I don't know. People want me to do stuff that's not the food reviews, which I get, but I like eating food and I like talking about food, so fuck you. But I also do talk about, I think you get some of my personality a little bit too, because I'm just kind of in my car alone, and so things come up and I'm like, hey, what about this? So it's not just only like food, but it is mostly food, don't get me wrong. What about you, Kevin? You got anything?
Just subscribe to Spencer's Patreon, pay Spencer, so that he can be Bon Jovi.
Yeah, we gotta get merch going. We gotta get this soda off the ground. Send us emails about the soda. Whatever. Send us emails about what you'll pay money for. Anyway, we like to end the show the same way we do next time. So until then, we recording in the abdomen and we taking a punch, baby.